And now you've got, this young player over there that's freaking out because they don't know what's going on or whatever. And now the goalkeeper's shielded, and like, if you're just moving people, because I see this at practice, Jake, all the time. I'll see, coaches physically moving players into places like they're chess pieces, as opposed to allowing the fluidity. And then the goalkeepers just start learning these patterns. And when the picture doesn't look like the picture of practice, they freeze and they freak out.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah. All right, let's get into this one right here. So what's going on right here? First off, I want to stop this here because I love this. The music's great. I just wanted to
turn the music off.
I couldn't hear the music.
Turn the music off. What a nonsense song. Who did that?
Hold on, let's see here.
Nice.
Okay. So
absolute nonsense. Thanks for calling me out on that. I love it.
That's the first video we've ever done in over 300 episodes with music. I love it.
It's
first one. Love that.
Yes.
I felt like I was getting ready for like a new PBS children's show.
It sounds like it. I expect Barney to be like kicking the ball right now or something.
A rainbow is going to show up over the kid.
Yeah, the Teletubbies are coming out, or Blue's Clues.
So Jake, first, this is a really interesting activity here. I've never seen this before. Why don't you kind of break down what this is? I've never seen this before. I really think it's awesome.
Yeah, so this is pre-training. So this is before the training has even started. So this player has showed up early. So the blaze pods are there. So it's kind of hard to see, but there's 4 pods, and then one will light up. So then the goalkeeper has to respond to that. So they have to respond to which one lights up. So if the close ones go, they have to short block. If the one on the far left goes, then he has to long block. So again, it's just a technical thing, but we're not telling him, okay, you're going to do a short block. Okay, you're going to do a long block. He's got to respond to something for it first. And then we have the orange ball, which is soft, and I'm tossing it to his head, and he's heading it back to me. And again, that is, just a technical thing that we want his head and his chest to go forwards. So it's just a technical action. And again, this is just extra work for the goalkeeper, not in the session. This is just prior to it. So again, hopefully, once the goalkeeper goes into the session, he's seen these actions prior. So we try to do a lot of that here because we're pretty fortunate that we have the goalkeepers for a large amount of time. So we have this pre-training time for them that we can experiment with stuff like this.
Yeah. I was going to say one thing here, in Saskia, this was funny to me because I remember the first time I saw it, I saw the comments below, and this is why I love the union, because there's people there that are there for the right reasons and that they also are there for goalkeeping. But some of the comments I was seeing was like, why are you teaching your goalkeeper to head the ball? What a waste of time. Oh, so your sessions, why aren't they using their hand? Just ridiculous things out there. And that's why I think, Saskia, it's so important that people get the context of the picture they're seeing before they make any sort of rash comments.
Yeah. All it makes me think is, what's his name? Shouldn't have gone and headed the ball in that game. What was it?
Oh yeah.
Oh God, what was that? Yeah, okay, I forgot. But I'll leave it alone. No, yeah. I mean, but whatever. I don't even have a comment about that. I don't you know how I feel about people like that. So.
I know. But I want to bring up this though, Jake, is that I love the fact that you always add context to any post that you make. And thanks for all the posting that you're doing on the union. We really love the stuff that you're sharing over there. But the heading thing, I remember I think I had a conversation with you off the air about this. I was like, oh, I never even thought about the fact that especially with the high positions that the goalkeepers take nowadays, the young goalkeepers really do need to learn how to head the ball in order to be able to properly, defend that high part of the area.
Yeah, and I think doing it in a way like this is he's working on his headers and he doesn't even know it. it's pre-training, and again, it's for another reason, but he's still working on that action of how do I head the ball, and he's getting more comfortable with it, you know? So it's like you have to add these things in. It can't be your whole entire session. It's just you're heading the ball, you know? Then you're going to waste your time. But, you know, can you add little layers in for it?
Yeah.
It goes back to like, if you rewind like decades ago, it goes back to goalkeepers not being that strong using their feet. Well, why do they have to like be comfortable dribbling and this and that and the other? They can pick the ball up, they can do everything like that. Because as the evolution of the games go, you never know when you need to be a well-rounded soccer player as well as a goalkeeper, period. And it also builds confidence. It's you know, you're keeping your eye on the ball in order to head it. It's, you know, you're leaning into it. It translates. You know, like you're not going to do a whole session on heading, but it's just part of growing confidence in all of your skills.
I'm also glad, Jake, that you said that was a soft ball as opposed to a medicine ball. If you're like, yeah, you know, I'm just tossing a medicine ball at this guy's head.
Nah, they're soft. That's one of my like favorite tools. Actually, you can just smash those things at them, and they're fine.
All right, so let's say, so is this the first phase of the activation?
Yep. So then again, it's a little bit of a sprint. Then they react, and they've got to make one of those block saves, kind of based on the timing, based on which coach is going to hit it, kind of how far away they are. So again, hopefully you're using the techniques that you've already seen.
Got it. Okay.
And kids out there, if you're watching the video, or coaches, look at the distance for the block save. They're not 5 yards away. Okay?
Yeah.
It's a block for a reason. It's not, hey, I'll start here, maybe they'll hit me with the ball save.
So again, the goalkeeper, it starts really when the goalkeeper is on that first dot. It's a sprint at first because in one.
Hey guys.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Kristen, can you hear us?
Yep. How are you guys doing?
Cool.
Hey, Kristen.
Good. I am removing Jake Davis off the screen right.
No, you don't get it. What I get is you can't come back to me and say, why isn't little Paul getting it? Oh, because you sat me in a corner over here where the field's uneven and I have a pop-up goal.
Yeah.
But it kind of goes back to, Kristen, is the fact is that, like, you know, you have to be proactive as a goalkeeping director, because otherwise, if you're passive, you're going to create a passive culture, you know, because it's not just about the culture of the goalkeepers, but it's the goalkeeper. It's the culture of the goalkeepers, how they're treated at the club. And so if you don't take the time to speak up or say, I need this, I need that, but you need to have a why, because I made the mistake of asking for things before and they're like, why? And I'm like, well, because I need it. And they go, that's not a good enough. I'm learning how when you pitch, you need to have a why, just like with anything. So go ahead.
Absolutely. Oh, no, I was just agreeing with you. I mean, yeah, I think, you know, I've gotten better with that as well. I mean, sometimes, you know, you don't want to ask for things, but ultimately, if it's going to benefit your players and it's going to benefit the club, like, you need to advocate for those things. And I mean, again, but you also have to show, you can't just ask for things and you're not proving yourself and it's not proven successful. You have to follow up with the things that you're asking for. And as little as field space, like, you know.
Yeah. Aiden, what's up, dude?
What's up?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Oh, nice. Sorry about that with the link, man. I sent it to the email that you had, so I thought that was the right one to go with. So
yeah, it just didn't pop up for me, but it's all good.
Okay, cool. Well, I'm glad you found it, and we were able to make this happen. So we'll get started in like a couple minutes right now. So guys, if you're tuning in right now, we're about to have the one and only Aiden Hanchett from is it Muskegon? Muskegon? How do you pronounce it? Muskegon Risers in the MASL is going to be joining us. We are talking about maximizing your indoor environment for the outdoor game. It's going to be fun, guys. We're going to start in like 1 minute, so please put your questions and comments in the comments section. I'm just going to take a swig of water. Very, very solid like that. And let me change these banners out here. And we will get started. Here did I do it? Nope. Yeah, I just did. Awesome. Here we go. And here we go. Welcome to Inside the 18. I'm Michael Magid, live from West Hollywood, California, recovering from yet another rainstorm, which is becoming very common for us over here in Southern California. We're not used to it. I am flying solo today, guys. I am Michael Magid. Saskia Weber is currently somewhere, I think, over Europe, getting back from South Africa. Coming back to shout out to Saskia for all the great work she's been doing with the FIFA Legends Tour. And obviously she's getting ready for this opening weekend for CBS and Paramount Plus. But filling in the shoes of 99 World Cup winner, we have someone who's got just as many accolades, I'm sure, as Saskia Weber. We have Muskegon Risers goalkeeper, Aiden Hanchett. Aiden, what's up, dude?
How's it going?
I'm excited about this, man. I'm excited about this because not only are we going to get some information about the indoor game, which is not something that we get a lot on this show, but we also have somebody who is going to be our first featured union member. We've been going kind of perusing through all the different people on the union platform, guys. And if you don't know what it is a goalkeeping platform, a private safe space to engage away from the vitriol of social media. And Aiden has been providing quite a bit of content and engaging with quite a bit of people. So shout out to you first off, Aiden, and I hope it's been beneficial for you.
Yeah, it has. I've been able to find a lot of drills to help both me and my other teammates, and just been able to engage and having fun learning and helping other people learn through the app.
I think that's one of the really cool things about it, though, is that, and by the way, Aiden, don't wait for me to ask a question. Like, if you've got something you want to say, you just say, how this show goes. But the cool thing is about it is that there's so many different types of people from all different walks of life coming in there. And because it's a smaller community than, like, let's say like Instagram or TikTok or anything, it's centralized to goalkeeping. So you're like, everybody here I know is legit. So if I DM someone here, they're probably going to be able to give me something of relevance as opposed to like, I don't know, man, like, I'm just trying to get views.
Yeah, for sure. But
yeah.
I've had multiple people DM me and ask me for like advice on technique or what kind of training do I do on the daily. And I've also been able to DM a couple coaches and ask for different types of training sessions.
Yeah, and I think one of the things about that, speaking of that, is obviously we're going to get into it with the topic here when we're talking about maximizing the indoor environment. But for people out there who don't know about your background, they're like, is this guy a contest winner? Like, what exactly? Why is this guy? He looks like he's 12 years old. What is he doing on the show right now? People probably say that to you, Aiden. Dude, I'm not gonna lie. First pictures I saw of you, I was like, is he like U14? Like, you've got a baby face. I'm sure people have told you that before.
Yeah. I'm still kind of young. I'm only 20, just turned 20, but I've had college experience, professional experience, high level academy, everything that I've been through. Yeah.
Well, I think, the thing is that you're going to want to keep that going as you get older. Like when you're my age, you're like going to be like so happy that people think you look younger. Like right now, I know you want to look like a grizzled veteran and everything like that, but trust me, dude, it's gonna work in your favor. So some people out there who might not know your background, why don't you kind of just fill everybody in on kind of your whole pathway, as the English like to say, to the pro indoor game?
Well, so I started out, I've always played kind of indoor for fun throughout my childhood, and outdoor kind of took over. And then when I was at University of Northwestern St. Paul for college, and I got an email from the MASL, like the first division commissioner, and he was inviting me to the combine and draft So as a college student, I was always trying to get like every opportunity possible. So I thought this might be a good opportunity. I went down to Texas where it was being held. Unfortunately, wasn't able to get drafted, but was very close. Got in contact with a bunch of the MASL2 coaches and was able to get a trial in my home state of with Muskegon, and was able to sign. Uh, got got to start pretty much right away, and then from there it was kind of a rotation with me and another goalkeeper throughout the rest of the season.
So, were you always fascinated by the indoor game? Because I'm curious about this, man. Because like, there's a lot of people out there who just like they think the outdoor game, the outdoor game, the outdoor game, and like I know a lot around the world, people are probably like indoor. You mean futsal? No, this is a completely different game in the United States, right?
Yeah, it's completely different. I've played futsal as well on the side, but there is almost no correlation between the two. Uh, Indoor, it's a little bit bigger. Of course, you got the boards, a couple more rules. It's always super fast. And then right now you have players such as Ronaldinho, who's getting in the league. You got Ricardinho, a whole bunch of big names coming into the game.
Just all the Enos are coming to play indoor. I love it, man. So are you going to start going like by like Hanchinho or Aidinho or anything like that?
I'm not sure about that one.
You're like, well, how are your field skills? I mean, like, I think one of the things about the indoor game, and we'll talk about it when we get into the topic here, is that a lot of people say that if you want to succeed professionally in the indoor game, like your field skills better be on point.
Yeah, it's a lot to do with the modern goalkeeper, even where you have to be good with your feet. With the indoor game, as a goalkeeper, you have 4 seconds with the ball, so you have to be able to get a touch, look up, find your teammate, and get it out within 5 seconds or 4 seconds. And you're always having people run at you. You gotta be quick, and you gotta know where you're going.
Wait, dude, the way you said that you always have people running at you. I mean, it is insane for those of you out there who have not watched the indoor game or played the indoor game. It is not people running at you. It is people sprinting at you who just bounced off a board that somebody just checked them into, and they're literally leaping into you as you're trying to clear the ball. Like, it takes really fast decision making, doesn't it?
Yeah, especially with the 4 seconds and how close it is, they're on you immediately. So if you don't know what you're doing, you're going to get the ball taken off your foot.
And I think that's a really important thing about that too, is that, and we'll talk about it when we get into the topic here and everything, but I'm just assuming that somebody like yourself, who'd been in high pressure environments, playing at high level academies, playing the collegiate game, and now going into this faster paced game, you have to be mentally strong to want to choose to play in this type of environment.
Yeah, that has a lot to do with it, because you're not going to hold a clean sheet. You're going to get scored on 5-6 goals a game. You got to be able to keep yourself in the game, even though goals are going in left and right. Obviously, you're going to make mistakes. You're going to give the ball away. You're going to hit it over the glass. It's just, you got to be mentally strong, short-term memory, and move on from each mistake.
Dude, it's so funny that you said that, because it kind of makes me think of 7-a-side soccer, and the same thing is like I'm playing 7-a-side men's league on the weekends, and we're like in a full-size goal on like this small field, and I'm like, this is the dumbest thing ever. The scores are like 11-10, and you have to just start being able to like let that roll off your back. Now, I'm not getting paid to do that. In fact, I may or may not be paying to be there, because the referees like to make money. Well, I mean, they get compensated for their time. Whatever. Referees are a necessary evil. Anyway, the thing is that like you have to start recognizing, despite what your job is to do, which is to stop the goals from going in, kind of like a hockey net minder, they're gonna go in, and you're just gonna have to be able to. How can you basically prevent scoring opportunities more than worrying about getting scored on, essentially?
For preventing, it's a lot of communication with your defenders. You
Okay.
have to know where all the opponents are. You have to direct your direct your defenders on where they are. Make sure they're not leaving the middle open or leaving the back corners open. That's pretty much the only way. Otherwise, if you don't communicate, you're going to leave people open. You're going to hit point blank shots, back post constantly.
See, but that's my question about that, because this is a worry, and again, when we get into the topic and we see how this transfers to the outdoor game, but like, how do you communicate clear, concise, and direct in such a short amount of time without like the ball being in the back of the net by the time that you're saying left, back post?
So a lot of it, you're going to have usually the other team's going to send one person up, and they're going to be running back and forth. They're called the target. So you're going to have a defender, and you want them to be in front of them, and it's just left shoulder, right shoulder. So they're going to follow them. So they're going to most teams are going to try to play into the corner. And then you have your other defender who needs to plug up the middle when the ball does get to the corner. So you got to direct them there. And then as your other teammates come back, you're going to have a defender drop to the back post and prevent that ball. And then you're going to have another guy in the middle, kind of like a triangle. And you're going to make sure that the ball can't get across and your defenders are able to be in a position to block a shot.
So the way you said that, like the right shoulder, left shoulder, that sort of thing, I think that that's something that is simple for kids to follow. And I have a question for you about that before we get into the topic. How much experience did you have in the indoor game as a kid? Obviously, growing up in Michigan, I'm assuming you guys played a lot of indoor.
Yeah, obviously we get the snow and the cold, so it's just that's what we do. We either play futsal or we play indoor, or in my case, I played both. But for indoor, it wasn't always super competitive. I started getting into the competitive last year at the combine, and that's where I sort of learned pretty much everything. Once you get to the competitive levels, it completely reshapes everything you know about the game.
So I'm thinking about that. I'm actually really curious about that whole combine experience. Can you elaborate a little bit more into that? Like, how many people there were like, I don't know, man, I'm just trying to get on a soccer team, regardless of what type of field it is. And how many people were like, I'm a pro indoor player?
Most of the people were new to the indoor game. Quite a few of them were, I'm just here for the experience and meet people. But there was several players that you could tell really, really wanted to progress, and they were all super high-level players. The goalkeeper spot was very competitive. I think we had probably 25 goalkeepers spread across 4 teams. So you had to be on your A game to be able to get onto the field during games.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people who were going for that number 1 overall draft pick.
So now, and I'm actually thinking about that right there, because obviously, we talk about this with the outdoor game, how rare it is for goalkeepers to be taken early in drafts when it comes to the outdoor game. You have to either be something really special or be like 6'9", and they're like, I don't know, man, if he can walk, we'll give him a shot. But how many of the people there were goalkeepers, and how many was it more field players that were at this combine? And it was just like, several, maybe like half a dozen goalkeepers.
There's about 90 people at the combine in total. Obviously, each team is going to use probably 20 players per game. Goalkeepers, there's about 25, and then they're spread across 4 teams, and there's 4 quarters in the indoor game. So each keeper would get about a quarter. So it all kind of worked out.
And I'm assuming, see, that's the thing about indoor as opposed to like an outdoor combine, where I've done like outdoor showcases, or I've been and watched and scouted outdoor showcases, and it's like, well, he looks great in a kit, and he waved to a lot of people, but I didn't really see him do anything for that amount of time. This, you're getting a lot of final actions, you're getting a lot of preventative defense from an organizational standpoint, and quick decision making, 1v1s, handling a quick decision distribution, all those sorts of things. So I'm assuming that they were able to make a pretty solid judgment on these goalkeepers pretty quickly.
Yeah, so after it was a 3-day combine. After the first day, they cut it down about half, and by the third day, there was only 8 goalkeepers remaining.
Wait,
So it's
only okay. So that is so after that first day, were you like, oh, maybe I've got a chance at this?
yeah. Once I saw my name on the second roster, I thought maybe this is something that I could pursue. Uh, Unfortunately, there was a couple other goalkeepers that beat me out on the second day, but I was still able to connect with a bunch of coaches, and they're all saying, you're right there," which got my confidence up and told me maybe I could pursue this further and make a career out of it.
So what was that conversation like with your parents? You were like, hey, you know what? I did pretty good at this indoor soccer combine. I'm thinking about giving this a shot. They're like, well, there's a rec center down the street that does this too. Like,
Well, yeah, I was lucky. My parents were super supportive of it. They love coming to watch me play. They love arena, the arena crowds. We get about close to 4,000 for every game.
wait, what?
Yeah,
4,000 people?
yeah,
Oh my God.
just a
Okay.
small coast town in Michigan. We get about 4,000 people for every game. It's pretty cool to see all the fans there. We get to interact with them after every game. They're all out on the field. A lot of younger kids. I think you've seen the photo of it where we had the big kids tunnel that we run through
Yeah.
before every game.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's awesome. That's awesome, man. And I think that, the really cool thing, obviously, when we're talking about it's very similar to, minor league, outdoor soccer, building that community and being able to engage with these people. The cool thing about that is that, it allows you to recognize that, because I think you're learning life skills too that are going to be useful for you later on, even if you don't make it to a higher levels of football, because you're like, okay, community engagement, how to handle the media, social responsibility, how to be appropriate on social media, all these sorts of things that, like, if you weren't necessarily in this environment, a lot of 20-year-olds, and let's be honest, I'm sure you know this firsthand, don't have any of that life experience.
no, I didn't before. It kind of shocked me the first home game where it was full blizzard outside. We had probably 12 inches of snow in less than an hour, and people still showed up. We still had a good crowd. After the game is my first time ever interacting with that many people at once, signing autographs for kids. It was a pretty surreal experience.
Dude, that's amazing. I mean, that is definitely different than the college environment where you've got your parents sitting in the bleachers and maybe a couple friends that are waiting for you to finish the game so you guys can go hang out. Very different experience.
Yeah.
For sure. Quick question for you before we get into today's topic. With the MASL, there seems to be a pyramid structure similar to what you've got with the USL, because they have MASL 1 and MASL 2. Why don't you break down that pyramid structure a little bit? And is it a direct feeder into the into the first team program?
Yeah. So the MASL 1 is probably the top league, maybe in the entire world, if not the United States. So they're all super high level pros. Then you got MASL 2, where I'm at, where you get a lot of M1 players that come down. So like when we play, say, the Iowa Demon Hawks, that's all the Florida Tropics players pretty much. So it's
Okay.
basically like first team, second team. And then there's MASL 3 now that's starting to build. There's a couple teams there. They borrow some of the M2 players and so on.
Wait, so MASL 3, what is MASL, or like your 9-year-olds out there? Like who's out there exactly for MASL 3? Like how deep is there, like youth academies for indoor now? Is that like what's going on?
Oh, I know of one youth academy. I know there's a lot of clubs that will play indoor throughout the winter. Uh, the MASL 3 is still super high level. You still have to work your way into it. Once you get there, you get a lot of MASL 2 looks, and if you do well at MASL 3, you're most likely going to get brought up. If you do well at MASL 2, you're most likely going to get brought up to M1. M1 obviously is where everyone wants to be.
And I'm assuming that if you do well in M1, then you're Ronaldinho. Essentially, that's basically how it works out.
Not quite there, but obviously being in the M1 will get you a lot of looks from even outdoor clubs.
So let's kind of get into today's topic, guys. And today's topic is maximizing the indoor environment to benefit your outdoor game. Aiden, for some people out there who don't know what we mean by maximizing the environment, what are we referring to?
Just making the most of it. A lot of people treat the indoor scene like just something for fun I can do with friends. But if you take it super serious, you can build your outdoor game 10 levels. Your reaction time, your distribution, a lot of your technique, it'll skyrocket.
Yeah, and you see, I think you just brought up the really good point right there, is that a lot of people take the indoor game for fun. And a lot of young players out there, I know, it's raining. Oh, we're going to the indoor arena. Oh, we're gonna do some scrimmaging there. And then they start doing these actions that are like they're effective in that environment right there, but it's not actually helping them grow their game, as far as the outdoor game. But so how do you balance that, Aiden? Because obviously you at your competitive level, you want to be successful in the indoor game, but I know that your aspirations are also to play at a good level in the outdoor game. So how do you balance those two?
Yeah, so a lot of it for me is working on technique, a lot of footwork, because you got to be moving side to side, forward, backwards in the indoor game. A lot of foot skills. So a lot of my trainings are going to be with the ball at my feet rather than in my hands. Obviously, a lot of the technique is pretty similar to the outdoor game, so work a lot on that. Then distribution, it's a little bit shorter, but you can work on passing on the ground and getting it around defenders, that sort of thing.
So, one thing I was just thinking about when you were talking about spending a lot of time with the ball at your feet, I know that a lot of young goalkeepers, when it comes to the outdoor game, are taught to work out of possession when they're doing distribution as opposed to in possession. So is that a little bit different because the dimensions are so small and you have possession so much?
So the MASL goalkeepers can have it in their hands once, they can pass it out, and they can get it at their feet once. Until they cross half. But when we have it, obviously we're going to have people sprinting at us. We got to have either a quick distribution out to the side to one of our defenders, or we can dribble up to the yellow line that is on fields, and then we can start playing it long because there is a 3-line rule in our league. So we have to be able to dribble the ball. We have to be able to pass it. We have to be able to hit long balls. And obviously throwing, you have to be able to get accurate throws. You have to be able to throw it long without hitting a ceiling.
Without hitting a ceiling, that is something you don't have to deal with in the outdoor game at all.
No.
Unless you're playing in a giant domed arena and you've got the strongest kick ever. I do want to bring up this part that you were talking about because, people charging at you, and something that I feel that's a little bit different is, and I'm sure you've heard this in the outdoor game, is like when kids work on escape in possession, and they're like, don't ever Cruyff turn there. Don't ever do this right here. Like, just get rid of the ball or whatever. Is that type of behavior actually encouraged in the indoor game?
Not so much like flashy skills, but being able to take a touch around a defender, maybe beat one guy and then getting it off. But in the indoor game, you have to be able to beat a defender whether it's just one touch or you're taking a touch and kind of acting like you're going to pass one way, going a different way. You have to be able to do something along those lines.
So actually, I'm just actually just thinking out loud right here, like in regards to a young player who's listening to this, like the indoor game is beneficial for them to learn how to disguise their pass, because I know so many young goalkeepers out there who telegraph literally every pass they make. Like they're like looking at the player, waving at them and passing the ball. And like the forward's like, yeah, I think I know where that ball's going.
Yeah. If you watch any of the MASL games, a lot of the passes, the players already know where their teammates are. So they're going to be looking one way, they're going to beat a defender, and then they're going to pass it to where the defenders have no idea there's a guy there, or they're going to try to at least. And they're not going to know, most of the time, they're not going to know where they're passing it to.
Yeah, you know, I mean, I think that is so important, is to learn that art of deception there. I want to ask you, what actions aren't successful in the indoor game that do work in the outdoor game?
A lot of where you see mistakes is people will try to like punt the ball. Obviously, it'll either hit the scoreboard in the middle of the field.
Are you even
Yeah.
allowed to punt the ball? Like that sounds ridiculous.
You can. A lot of new players, new goalkeepers, I've seen try to do it. They'll either hit it over the glass, or they'll hit the scoreboard, or they'll hit it over 3 lines. So obviously you can't do that. Yeah. So and then long balls, you can't hit it over 3 lines. So if you're in the back and you see like someone making a run, you can't like hit it over every defender unless you're above that yellow line.
I would think that one thing. Oh, go ahead.
And then a lot of people don't realize you're not trying to catch the ball so much indoor. You're more just trying to make a save. If you can catch it, obviously you try to catch it. But a lot of it is so close that you're not going to be able to catch it without it going through your hands.
You know, what's funny about that is like, I think I actually made that point in a comment based on one of the actions that you were sharing on the Union app. And, you know, I was like, you know, any sort of containment in that situation can lead to a rebound in the red zone, which is just so close to you. It's almost impossible to stop. So steering must be like bread and butter in the indoor game.
Yeah, you have to be good with your hands and being able to direct the ball. I think in that post that you're talking about, I was able to hit it up into the net behind the goal, because you do have boards above the goal, and if you hit it into it, it's going to come back right out in front of you for a rebound. So you have to be able to either hit the ball into the corner, hit it over the glass to give the other team a corner kick, or steer it to one of your defenders so they can clear it.
I want to talk about this because obviously with such short spaces, it probably teaches young players to scan the field very quickly. And I think that's such an important skill as kids keep developing, as young goalkeepers keep developing, because I can't tell you how many times I've gone to a youth match and it's taken the player 10 minutes to figure out where everybody is. And by then everything's closed off.
Yeah. As a goalkeeper, you're always scanning the field in indoor, because if you don't and you lose one player and can't communicate to your defender, you're going to get scored on. A lot of even outfield players, they always have to scan, because you got players coming on and off the field constantly. If they lose one guy, and they're going to leave the goalkeeper stranded, and they know that they don't want to leave it. If you're not going to defend in indoor, you're going to be on the bench. So they're always scanning, making sure they know where everyone is. The goalkeeper always needs to know where everyone is.
You know, I was thinking about that just like from the distribution standpoint, right? And you were bringing up like the punting, which sounds absurd. And I just can't imagine how many people try to do like a side volley in indoor and it just bounces off a dude's back. And, you know, all of a sudden now it's a counterattack all of a sudden. But, you know, I think it's really beneficial for young players to understand how to use this sounds ridiculous, use their arms, because so many young goalkeepers out there don't know how to throw properly, don't know when to throw, don't know how. I can't tell you how many times people side volleyed a ball that they could have just overhand thrown to
Yeah.
the exact same player.
Yeah, for indoor, you have to be able to throw a driven ball with an overhand throw rather than floating it or throwing it into the ground. You have to be able to drive it so it gets obviously to where it's going and inaccurate. If you're not gonna if it's inaccurate, it's not gonna you're gonna get countered immediately with how fast the game is. They're just gonna clear it right back at you. And then there's a sidearm throw even that we use instead of throwing it overhand to skip it on the ground because it's going to bounce too much. There's a sidearm throw that you see in futsal a lot where you can get it to just kind of stay on the ground, and it'll be a little bit harder than a bowl. And then obviously bowling, you have to be pretty accurate with that too. You have to be quick with those so your defenders don't get ran at immediately and tackled.
So let's do this here. I want to start showing some actions of yours and kind of breaking them down because I know we've been obviously talking about everything and probably people are like, this sounds all great in concept, but I want to see this actually in action. So I'm going to throw some stuff up here on the screen. Aiden, I'm sure this is your favorite time is watching film of yourself. I know a lot of goalkeepers. You're probably the same way as I am when stand-up. When I watch like sets of myself, I'm like, I didn't know I could have done that so much better, or like, oh, I've grown so much since this play. But let's kind of break this down. So this is this. So first off, to explain to everybody out there, the clock runs down in indoor, right?
Yes. So it's
Okay.
4 15-minute quarters and it runs down. It's a stop clock. There's timeouts, media timeouts, everything.
Okay. So wait, media timeouts. You sound so professional, like you got these TV
Yeah.
timeouts going on and everything like that. By the way, how does that feel like being able to see like the TV broadcasts of and like people saying and Hanchett with the save and all that sort of stuff?
Oh, it's fun for me to be able to hear that. It gives me a lot of confidence. Yeah, it's fun.
So let's play this here. So this is in this I think 7 minutes left to go in the game. This is the Muskegon Risers versus the Rochester Lancers. Is that right?
Yep.
Those are the
Yes.
teams here. So the ball is played to Vadim Koyakov, who dribbles to the top of the D and just hits a bullet. Look how fast it happens. So fast I can't even do the play-by-play because it happens so fast. Way to stay strong shape and keep that wrist locked for proper weight behind that push. Let's walk it through here. So first off, what do you see right here?
So I'm communicating to my defender on the backside about the guy over in the back corner.
Okay.
And the guy in front of me, he's actually running to the corner to the left. So I'm communicating to my defender there. And then obviously this is an opportunity where our forward can come double team. So we're also trying to communicate that. But this game is so fast. If you are a second late, obviously he's going to beat this first guy and he's going to have a shot. And that shot is probably less than 12 yards. So you got
Okay, so that's the thing here. See here, like TV kind of warps everything. This is way closer than it actually looks on TV, right?
Yeah.
So the dribble inside. So basically, and I'm just guessing, do you try to force people wide in the indoor game because of how quick the ball comes to you and when it's direct inside like that?
Certain players you do try to force out wide, but there's also players who know that they're gonna get forced wide, and they practice shooting from there, and they'll be able to just absolutely launch one top corner. So you got to be wary of that. You got to know your opponent.
So speaking of that, so obviously I'm sure you do a lot of scouting, and I'm sure you're very familiar. I'm assuming this guy, Vadim Koyakov, by the name, has been playing football for a decent amount of time in his life. And you probably have done some scouting and recognize that this guy hits these types of balls. But so once he gets here, I notice, first off, because short distance, you have players stepping in towards the ball. But that obstructs your view, right? Is that what you want, or do you want them to get out of the way?
If they're gonna block the shot, you want them blocking the shot, obviously.
Yeah.
It does obstruct you a little bit, but for the most part, you're able to see it if you're in the right position. Right here, I don't think it shows, but I'm actually to the right of where my defender is, so I have a pretty good angle on the ball.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, he's still able to get a big, pretty hard shot off. My teammates weren't able to get there to block it.
So that's a question for me actually for you, is that in the indoor game, because the distances are so close, and obviously this gets kind of back to the outdoor game, and when you're dealing with a shot from such an in close range, do you cheat a little bit and be a little bit off ball line just so that you can get a good view of the ball, recognizing the fact that you have the ability, because the goal dimensions are smaller, to be able to push off and go across that space?
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay.
So when you're playing indoor, you got to recognize that right-footed shooters are gonna most likely shoot to your left, and lefties are gonna shoot to your right. So you do have a little bit of leeway to cheat and be able to react and get back.
Okay.
Obviously here, I saw I had two defenders to my left. So if you were to shoot to my right, sorry, if he was going to shoot there, it probably would have gotten blocked. So I was able to cheat over just a little bit to be able to get in the correct position to make the save.
So now the ball is hit, right? And obviously it's very close distance right here. And as you can see, the player did step in to try to block the ball. So now this doesn't give you a lot of time to react. Are you immediately going lift and steer this ball out of play? Or are you thinking, steer this ball away towards the boards, towards those clear boards right there so my team can counter?
When I saw that it was going towards the top of the goal, that's when I was like, gotta get it up and over instead of hitting it off those backboards and getting a rebound or hitting it in the corner because they had a guy there. So my mind was get the ball out of play in this situation.
Okay. And you go with that top hand over that. Was that just reactionary? Was that or was that a conscious decision? Go with that top hand because it's going to play it out of bounds like that.
That was more reactionary.
Okay.
My technique is I go with my bottom hand normally for
Okay.
outdoor.
Okay.
But that one was more reactionary, obviously, because it's a short distance and it was coming out of the from behind my defender. So there's more reactionary.
So I'm looking here. It looks like there's a little bit of a drop step. Do you really have time to get a drop step in the indoor game, or a lot of times are you just flat-footed and making a steer?
There's quite a few times where you're flat-footed and you just have to rely on your leg strength to get over. If you like here, I had just enough time to be able to get my power step off, but a lot of the times you're flat-footed and you just have to rely on your leg strength.
Yeah, and then I think also, one of the things I want to bring up before we move on to the next clip right here, and I think I brought this up on the Union app when you posted this action, was your wrist strength and the forearm strength and the wrist strength right here of being able to stay locked and be able to get that push off. Because I think one of the problems that happens a lot of times, especially for young players at close distances, is that their hands become literally just the wet noodle type situation. And because of that, the ball just gets steered into the goal.
Yeah, I had a problem with that when I was younger. My coaches for when I got into high school, there's a lot of forearm and wrist strength activities, and a lot of technique work where my wrists are always locked. Especially in the indoor game, if you have a loose wrist, you're either going to get hurt or you're going to hit the ball into your own net.
Yeah. Now, are any specific activities or recommendations that you would give to any young players listening about that? Because I think that's just I think it's something that's not focused on enough, and I don't think enough people think about it when they're putting together their IDPs for players.
I forgot what they're called. I can post it on my account later.
Yeah, that'd be
If
great.
listeners wanna go through there. Uh, but yeah, I have a workout sheet I can post.
Dude, do it. Actually, do it. Actually, this is a great time to point it out, guys. Starting next week, we've updated the Union app. There's going to be a new update coming out, and you're going to be able to now create your member profile, much like you do on Facebook. So you're going to have your own profile. You can put your own session designs on there, your own videos, your own photos, any type of links you want, whatever it is that you want that has to do with you. You can share this out with different people. We're also going to have the ability to swipe left and right on whether you like different actions and give feedback on why you like that action or why you didn't like that action. I think this is going to be stuff that's going to be really beneficial to people. I'm not trying to make this an infomercial. It was just a great segue there by Aiden to bring that up. So let's move on to this next action here, because this is a different action that we're going to see. Oh, did you see the clapping by the people right there? You see how happy they were? Look at that.
Yeah, that's
there
actually
you
the
go.
other team.
Oh,
That was the other
well,
team. Yeah.
hey, they when they see quality, they clap up quality regardless.
Yeah.
So this is 8 minutes left. I think this is the same game, right, against Rochester Lancers.
Yes.
And it's Alex Harling, breakaway on the edge of the wall, down the wing towards the goal to the near post. The ball is hit and you block it, but it seems like you block it utilizing the wall as a device to deflect the ball. And then you've got second ball recovery ready, and you're telling your teammate to clear the ball. It happens so fast, guys. These clips are so fast. We really have to break them down. So let's go here. First off, right here, what do you see?
So obviously, I see my teammate coming over. You have to trust your teammates that you're going to get it, that they're
Mhm.
going to get the ball. But as soon as I saw the other guy tapping it off the wall, that's when the fast break's happening. So you got to, as a goalkeeper, you got to take the shot, but you're also communicating to the guy. You see my teammate close to me. There's
Yeah.
a guy coming up behind him too, back post, as you can see. So you got to communicate to your defender that there's a guy coming back post as well. So I'm taking the shot while also communicating to my teammate that there's a guy back post that he needs to cover.
Now, when I'm looking here, so obviously once he comes here, unlike the outdoor game where I think you would probably be a little bit more shallow as opposed to so high, you'd be a little bit deeper towards your post right here. It seems like in the indoor game you need to play a little bit more aggressive.
Yeah. So
Okay.
in this game, so this action specifically, I'm a little bit forward to use the wall as kind of a secondary defender, so he can't beat me near post. While also giving myself a good angle to prevent the shot back post. He ends up going back post, and I get my arm to it, and then my defender's there to clear it.
So here, right? So it seems like your player's trying to come in, and it looks like so slide tackling's allowed, I guess.
Yes.
Which is terrifying to me to think that slide tackling's allowed. But so the player's trying to slide in right there. You're here, and you're keeping this shape right here. It's a positive shape, but when the ball's hit, I see this negative turn. And would that be the equivalent in the outdoor game of you steering the ball negative out of bounds and out of danger? And you're just like, I can use the wall to prevent it from going into the danger space.
So this one, it actually hits my right arm.
Oh,
so
okay.
So I'm square, and then when it hits, I could feel my arm wasn't fully locked, so I actually turned my shoulders to kind of flick it out.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
my wrist wasn't fully locked on that one.
What I like about this, though, is that when I watch this, right, boom, right here, I want all the young goalkeepers to see this right here, because again, short distances, short spaces, the scanning of where the ball is and identifying where the danger is so important. And you literally track the ball the entire time, off the wall, boom, like a ping pong ball, basically.
Yeah, because if you lose the ball in an indoor, you're gonna get scored on. You gotta always make sure you know where it is.
and I'm liking this too, because I think a lot of times what I see a lot of young goalkeepers do in this scenario is they will try to dive on this ball, keeper, but you've got a dude right there. Like,
Yeah.
why would you muddy up the situation? Like, you recognize immediately, because you were tracking that ball and scanning that ball, that there's no way for you to get on that ball and clear it before this guy can. So this way, I think, and just right there. But this is so scary right here, though. Is it like this guy still can come in on the ball? So what do you do in that scenario?
That's one where if it's hit back at you, you just got to react to it. But
Okay.
luckily that one went out of play.
Yeah. I mean, dude, this just seems like, first off, like bravery to you for playing indoor. For anybody who's out there who hasn't played the indoor, if anybody wonders why my nose kind of looks like Owen Wilson's, it's because of indoor soccer. When I was playing my freshman year in college, in the wintertime, we played indoor, and I got cracked in the nose, and before resetting it, I went back in the second half and then got hit again. And that's how you end up having a nose that looks like this. If it weren't for this, I'd be like a solid 9. But with the nose, 8.5. All right, let's move on here to this next action right here. So this is a free kick that we got going on right here. I think there's like 1 minute left to go in the match. So this is like really. Was it the match or is it in the quarter?
This one would have been the quarter. I believe it was third quarter.
Okay, third quarter. So you guys do 4 quarters when it comes to indoor. Okay, so 1 minute left to go in the quarter before your team can go and get a swig of water. It's a free kick by is it Joey Tavernisi?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, Joey Tavernisi. It's a simple containment by you. And then you immediately scan and recognize that Miguel Flores is up and high, up over the top. And now he gets a shot on Daniel Maddock, who makes a great save. Shout out to Goalkeeper Union member Daniel Maddock as well, because we got to give love to all the different goalkeepers there. So let's start here with the free kick setup. Obviously, these got to be really tense situations in indoor, because they're such close distances and anything can happen at such short distances.
Yeah, they actually burned us on a free kick from the other side earlier in this game. So this one, we were really focusing on getting the wall set properly, because that's what happened to us last time. We had a couple new players who didn't fully understand, and we couldn't get the wall set properly. And then they ran a dummy play and kind of caught us off guard. But
got it.
For the
Go ahead.
For the wall isn't just a wall in this situation. They also are marking players. So the guy on the left, so closest to the camera here, is marking 25. The guy closest to the wall, closest to the boards on the wall, is marking the guy shooting. And then you can see towards the goal, we have 3 in a triangle. So the left one is marking the guy down in this corner.
Okay.
The guy up top is marking another guy who's up here, who is going to be their shooter or would have been their shooter if the same play they did earlier. And then obviously the back post guy is marking someone on the back post. So we were really focusing on that.
One thing that I was having difficulty when I was trying to focus is the fact that there was apparently a 5-year-old's birthday party taking place to the left of the free kick taker. Talk about a little bit distracting right there. I'm not going to lie. Luckily, you don't have to see it because you're turned the other way. But I love the fact that you brought up about the chase by the wall person as then becomes the defender, because I think a lot of times with young goalkeepers, Aiden, and we're just kind of getting back to the outdoor game and how you can learn from the indoor game from this, is that people don't assign responsibilities to the players in the wall. They just go 4, and then they just have 4 dudes go there and just hang out. But there's no game plan on if the ball hits the wall, if the player splits the wall, if there's a pass or anything like that. So how important is it to have those conversations beforehand so you're all on the same page?
Oh, it's very, very important because if you're not all on the same page, you're gonna get burned. Like if you go rewatch this game, there's like 2 minutes into this game, a couple new players, we got burned by a free kick. Our coach, we work on free kicks like this at least once a week during practice. Uh, it's very important, especially with teams like Rochester, who is an M1 team in reality, but they moved down due to financial issues, I believe. Uh, but they are a very, very experienced team. They know how to play this game. So it's very important for us to be all locked in on these free kicks.
Yeah, I mean, dude, I was looking at the guys on Rochester, like literally when I'm just watching these footage, these clips, I'm like, these guys are like 35 years old. Like these are like men out there playing against. So like it's not like they're not experienced players that don't have the smarts, but you pick up the moments, man. I mean, like, so again, like kind of going back, so the ball's hit, and first off, really simple containment. I think one of the things I love about the indoor game is it teaches you to be consistent with your containment and clean. Because a lot of things that you can get away with in the outdoor game, you can't get away with in the indoor game. Like this ball, if you're not clean with this, that's in the net.
Yeah, it's either in the net or if I spill it, there's a guy right in front of me running across who's going to tap it in.
Yeah. So you get the ball right there, and then I'm looking at your head, and you already recognize that there's a mismatch here for Miguel. It's Miguel, right? Miguel Flores?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. And so when we talk about the overhand throw, you're basically using this to break the lines. So you're playing it over the head of the players on the top like that, as opposed to a more direct lower ball that would be intercepted.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
And
that's where it comes in, where I was talking earlier. You got to be able to drive the ball rather than float it, because if you float it, it's not going to get there because it's going to be too slow. Where it's hard to see on this one because it goes over the camera, but this one has a flatter trajectory and it's more driven, so it's able to be accurate, where as well as get over the defenders.
And you also have to just, I'm sure, obviously, one of the things also about the indoor game, too, is it teaches you to be able to handle different flights and to work on your timing on different flights. Because I think one of the problems that a lot of youth players have, Aiden, is that either they put way too much air under the ball or they don't put enough air under the ball.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what right here, when the player has this here, is this similar to like in the outdoor game where you're pushing everybody up, or because counters can happen so quickly, you're not worrying about that, and you're more just having the team just keep their line? Like what's the situation? How do you handle this?
So in this situation, we're trying to get everyone to push up because we were down a goal, I believe, in this situation.
Okay.
So we want to continue to high press them. I believe at the end of this play, I don't remember if we scored. It was close to this, but we just kept pressing them, and I believe we either got a really good chance or even scored, like within 20 seconds of this.
That's amazing, man. So I want to move on, to these right here, because we're going to look at some clips that have nothing to do with the Rochester Lancers, because I feel like people are like, does Aiden only play against, is it like a 2-team league? Is it the Rochester Lancers and the Muskegon Risers this entire time? So let's go to some other actions here. I love this action right here. First off, I'm not sure what team this is right here. I wasn't able to tell from the clips here. So,
Iowa Demon Hawks.
I love the names, man.
Yeah,
I feel like I'm watching XFL football.
Yeah, this game though, they were, I believe, almost all M1 players from the Florida Tropics, who's one of the better teams. This is actually my debut game for the home opener this year.
Wait, what?
Yeah,
that's awesome, man.
Yeah, it was a fun game. We ended up winning in overtime, I believe. Yeah, we won in overtime.
So in this play right here, it looks like this player, he tries to come across here. And again, there's the split right here between two players. You're in the space right here. the ball is hit. He's trying to hit it. He's trying to hit it across you, and it's a great kick save right there. But what I love about this kick save, and I want a lot of young goalkeepers to see this, is that you are not positive in the kick save as in forward, opening up that gap. You're actually across so that when you recover, you're in the space right there. That is next level, dude. I love that. Can you talk a little bit about that?
So another one for this is it was kind of a shank shot. So you could see me leaning to the other side a little bit. So I had to react over. But I also wanted, in this situation, I was trying to hit it into the corner with my foot rather than hit it back forward. As you can see, they have a player coming in for the rebound. So this one, I was trying to hit it more into the boards than I was to clear it out. Obviously, it did come a little bit out, but it was enough to where the other player didn't have an easy tap in.
Yeah, and I think, that one of the toughest things is with these boards here is that you have to get up quickly and cover space, because the ball can ricochet and then it's back in play, as opposed to in the outdoor game where you steered that ball and now you got 30 minutes before the play develops again. You're immediately called back into action right there, as in right there. The touch with the post right there, is that a conscious thing? Is that to kind of know your dimensions? Or what specific is the point of that right there?
Yeah, so with the indoor game, when they're on the boards, you got to be able to protect it because they hit it around. So the technique for defending your near post is your hand is up against the boards, preventing the ball from getting in between you and the wall.
Okay.
So I was there, and then which also helped me know where I was in the goal. So I was able to then position myself afterwards more towards the middle of the goal as it came to the center.
Gotcha. So that's an actual technique. And when you talk about that, I'm just thinking about something that you can learn from the indoor game, if you're a young goalkeeper, is keeping your hands up. We talked so much about this in the outdoor game. How many goalkeepers, on the near post, drop their body and their hands are down in that low crouch 1v1 kind of block position, and the ball's just roofed on them.
Yeah.
Because that space is open.
Yeah, that happens a lot in the indoor game too, where they'll come near post. If the keeper drops down, they'll roof it top corner on them.
Yeah. All right, so let's move on to this next clip here. Right here. Okay, first off, I love these fields because I feel like I'm watching like live action foosball. It's amazing. The way these things are done. And I'm looking at the turf. Is this the old school AstroTurf? Is that what you guys are playing on?
Yeah, it is. It'll tear you up too. I have my gloves just here.
Yeah.
If you can see, they are completely torn up from this turf.
Wow.
Where I like to say that I'm pretty good about taking care of my gloves, and they usually don't get torn up. But this turf will just absolutely chew through them.
So is there any advice to because parents probably just heard that right now and said, my kids are not playing indoor because we're not going through 7 gloves in a month. Any sort of advice on glove maintenance for kids that are playing futsal or indoor?
Just keeping them hydrated. There's glove glue makes a really nice washing kit that I use. If you keep them hydrated, the latex will become more durable.
Okay.
Where if they dry out, it'll start cracking a little bit and it'll rub off super easy. So yeah, if you keep them hydrated, they should last you a lot longer.
Okay. All right. So if we move on here, so where is this right now? First off,
this is in Cedar Rapids, Iowa.
Okay. So you go to all the exotic locations: Cedar Rapids, Lansing. Let's see here. So what happens? So what's happening here? Obviously, because we're a little bit cut off from the camera here, but it seems as if there's some sort of situation here where a ball's played direct, and it's almost like basketball where this player's posting up basically, and then they turn and kind of spin move, and you have to be really patient. So
yeah, this team that we're playing, it's the Demon Hawks again. This is one of of their favorite plays. So they back him up, and then you see the player on the far side. He's acting like he's gonna run to the corner, and then he cuts back to the middle super quick, and it's a nice simple layoff, and he's gonna get a shot. Uh, yeah, that's one of their favorite plays. It happens. Quite a few teams like to do this. Uh, yeah, because that runner loses the defender super easy. Happens a lot.
So I'm looking
yeah.
at this right here, and when the ball is hit, it seems again it's that same kind of technique of that shoulder going into. And I know you said before that it wasn't a conscious decision, but it seems like it's a muscle memory thing from just playing indoor constantly over and over again to kind of throw that body like that.
Yeah, I think a lot of that for me came from futsal,
Okay.
where it's more of just getting the ball out.
Mm-hmm.
The more I've played indoor, the kind of more conscious it's become to steer the ball rather than just save it. Like this one, I was just kind of saving it rather than steering it because it was so close.
Okay. Okay. Now that's my concern before we move on to this last clip. And how are you doing on time? Because we'll start wrapping up soon. But just checking, making sure you're still good. You're good.
Yeah,
okay.
I'm good.
So this is my concern about the indoor game, and I'm sure this is something that a lot of parents or youth coaches of the outdoor game will bring up to say, "Oh, my goalkeeper just came back from 3 months of winter indoor games, and now we've got MLS next matches. It's April, and they're doing all these things that work for the indoor game, but they don't work for the outdoor game. Like now they're blocking when they shouldn't be blocking. They're not catching the ball because they're so used to steering. Like, what's your advice in that? Because I know kids take things literally, and if they've been working on something for a few weeks, it becomes their bread and butter.
Yeah, so a big thing for me, as the 11v11 outdoor season is rolling around, was throughout the winter, was incorporating a lot of 11v11 stuff along with the indoor. So being able to do a little bit of both while still learning is what really helped me just be able to rotate back to outdoor.
Got it. Okay. So let's move on to here. So what is this, right? Is this a goal kick? Is that what's going on right here?
No, so this one we kicked off and then we were getting under pressure, so they passed it back to me. So I take a touch and then kind of play it just past half to one of my teammates who ends up leaving it, and then it hits the boards, and then our other teammate picks it up and then scores the overtime winner.
Wow. And that all started with you
Yeah.
right there with that ball. And I think, I want a lot of young goalkeepers to see this here is that this was a play based on the dimensions of the space. It's a little bit different than if you're playing on the outdoor game. This is essentially breaking the lines. Would you do this in the outdoor game, or would you be like, probably not, because it's probably not going to get to that player in time?
Well, so my outdoor team, we play more of a relaxed, just knock it around kind of style.
Yeah.
But if I was under pressure like this, it'd be more of just trying to clear it.
Okay.
Here, it was more, I know where my teammate, I looked up, I found where my teammate was and played it into space where he was. And then he ended up just leaving it, and it hit the boards and then was right there for my other teammate to finish.
So I want to say this right here, like with this, is that I want a lot of young goalkeepers to hear this, is that like even a clearance has to have purpose, and like you had an intention when you hit this clearance as opposed to just clearing it out. And so I want to reemphasize that when you brought up in the outdoor game that you would just clear it, you didn't mean you would just hit the ball. You would have still intention on where you were wanting to clear that ball.
Yeah, so for outdoor, there's usually going to be space, usually up the lines. So in this situation, I'd be looking towards the left side, possibly where a winger would be, and then trying to aim it towards my winger, trying to get it near him.
Okay, so let's move on. I think we just got a few actions left right here, dude. And thanks for taking all the time, man. I think this has been really different, a fun little wrinkle for people, and I think really useful for a lot of kids who are in cold weather environments right now who've been playing indoor and wondering how the heck this all translates. Oh, I think we. Oh, no, we didn't see this play yet. Oh, hold on. Did you catch this ball? What is going
Yeah,
on
I
here?
did.
Oh my gosh. Okay, we're back to Salvatore Pizza. And so why don't you break down what happens right here?
So he's just kind of 1v1 with one of my defenders off a counter attack, and then he cuts it back and just hits kind of a weaker shot, just down to my side, and I was able to get my arm down and was able to catch it.
I think this is a really good point, is that it's all about doing what's going to be effective in the moment as opposed to concept. When Aiden said earlier, oh, in the indoor game, you're not really looking to contain, you're looking more to steer. Well, that's based on situation. And situationally, this ball is already bending inside towards your body. So containment makes the most sense, because if you tried to steer it, you would basically steer it into danger. Based on its movement. So I think really good decision making on your part. And I want people to see the shape too. See how that shape leads to containment? Love it. Boom, right there. Quick. All right. Oh, that's the same play that we saw just earlier. Over the top again. So I think it was a double in your highlight reel. Oh my gosh.
Oh.
This is probably one of the scariest situations in indoor soccer that you can get to. The 1v1 in indoor soccer. Oh boy, let's break this down, and then I think we'll wrap up the episode after this one, because what a great one to end on.
Yeah, so this one subbed off the bench. So this is another situation that goalkeepers have to be very aware of, is that there's two doors on each bench, and one guy went off on one door, and then he either came in on the other door or jumped over as they were clearing it, and was able. That's actually my coach playing defender, I think, because we had a bunch of injuries the game before, and he just beat him with pace and got the 1v1. And then as it goes forward, you can kind of see that I'm not over antsy and coming out, and then I'm also not jumping into a dive or trying to save it right away. I'm staying up. As he tries to cut across, I'm still up, which allowed me to be in position when he cut across the net to be able to make the save.
Dude, I love this right here, because like if we kind of go back to this we'll get to there right here. So let's go to the very beginning part of this right here. Right, no, there, right here. So I think a lot of young goalkeepers, the second this dude gets burnt right there, boom, they're running out at this ball. And I think this is something that the indoor game can teach you, is that's the discipline of staying high, staying compact, and on your feet, as opposed to either going down or running outside of your 18 to try to clear this. There's no way you're going to clear this ball. No way you're going to get to that player before. So you're holding position at the highest position that you basically can, and you're basically allowing your defender to get some chase, redirect the player, and you're still, as opposed to going down here, because I think a lot of young goalkeepers start flailing to try to cover that space. You stay high. You just, that micro movement, as Saskia always likes to say, that micro movement right there, so that the space is closed off, the player hits the ball, and it's a simple save. This looks simple to people that don't know how much is going into this, but this is a very complicated situation.
Yeah, so this goes into what I was talking about earlier with the footwork involved in the indoor game, where I see a lot of younger outdoor keepers, they'll just try to dive at their feet in the situation, where they'll come out on them and dive at their feet. This one, you just stay up, and it's more of a shuffle to get in position rather than diving at them.
Yeah, and then boom, simple. And again, the shape is such, and I think this really helps. This is useful in the outdoor game too. The shape is such to lead the ball and to guide the ball away from danger, so that you can recover and drop for depth to be ready for that next shot. I think too many goalkeepers in that situation right there, especially in the outdoor game. They make that save on the block, they stay high, and then they get lobbed over, as opposed to
Yeah.
recognizing the ball's been played out. Now it's time to drop for depth.
Yeah, I'm not for the outdoor one there. I've seen keepers either stay too high or they'll turn their back to the ball and run facing their own net.
Yeah,
It won't allow them to see the ball.
that's a great point, dude. I love that. I love that. All right, what's this last play here? Is this worth watching? Is that the last play? That's the last one, right? Or you got a couple? You got
I
a
think
couple more
there's
here?
there's like 2 or 3 after this one.
All right, so we have time for like one more. Like if you had to choose,
right.
like this is your time to shine, Aiden. Which one of these last 3 actions do you want to show?
I don't
There's
know
that one
which
that
one it
just happened.
was.
There's this one.
That one there was. Oh, this one's probably the best one to show.
Okay.
The one
so
before
let's-
that was an example of where you're flat-footed
Okay.
your dive rather than making the step.
So let's watch that just really quickly. We won't really break it down, but just so that everybody can kind of see. Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So break this one down. What's going on here?
So it's a similar play to when they post it up. This time their target, which is the striker, is going to drop off in the corner away from our defender, and the guy dribbling is going to take him on, which pulls him away. And then this is another disguised pass because he's going to act like he's going to shoot, but instead of shooting, he's going to play it to this guy at back post. And then luckily, he's going to hit it relatively at me, so I was able to deflect it off the boards. This is also an example of it coming off the boards, it back into the middle. So you got to be ready for the second shot.
Yeah, and again, I think right here. Well, let's see here. This play, not this one right here, but when we go back here, so right there, right before. Yeah, right here, right. He's right there. I think so many young goalkeepers are ready for that shot, so they're already in their head thinking to make that final action, and that player immediately cut, and then they get caught off guard and they go, ah! But instead, little step just to reset yourself. But I notice that you're already leaning into the space because you recognize that player is looking to hit into that space right there.
Yeah, that's another thing with indoor is you got to recognize what foot they're going to shoot with. And that for the most part, they're not going to hit it across their body, especially on a one-timer like this. They're most likely going to go with it and try to bend it around you.
Got it. That makes sense. And then again, finding that ball really quickly, being ready to go, boom. And this is just a boom. Look at that, the reactions right there. Well, dude, Aiden, those were awesome. I love going through those. And guys, if you want to watch more of those and you want to break them down yourself, please comment on them on the Union app. Aiden's got his own page there that he's going to be building up now that he knows that that's a new feature. But he's also in the engagement forum, and he's been posting a lot of stuff in there. So go in there, comment on them, give your own feedback. And this has just been amazing, Aiden. If you guys want to reach out to us directly, it's contact@insidethe18media.com if you have a guest suggestion or topic suggestion, or DM us at Goalkeeper Podcast on the Union. That is the best place to do it. If you DM us on IG, chances are, unless we're following you, we're not going to see it. So this is a much better way. I promise you, we will see it. We will get back to you. If you're not on the app yet, guys, check it out. It is free. It is a community, all of goalkeepers. A lot of cool stuff coming in the works. Just announced we're starting a creator program where you're going to be able to monetize your own content, and you're going to be able to develop your own little sub communities within the app. So really excited for that. Aiden, if people want to connect with you on the Union, what's your handle?
It is Aiden_Hanchett. It's the same as Instagram as well. If you want to reach out through there, spelled exactly how it is on screen right now.
I love it, man. I love it. And Saskia Weber will be back next week, guys. Again, she was in South Africa this week with the World Cup trophy. I was not invited. I was not invited. I stayed here in lovely West Hollywood, California, while it was raining for 3 days straight, while she was in South Africa having a great time. And then next week, after the podcast, she'll be going to Florida, I believe, for CBS and Paramount. And while I will be sitting in my apartment doing a podcast again. No, I'm totally happy with this, guys. It's totally fun. I enjoy it. If you want to reach out to me, Michael Magid Comedy, or at Michael Magid on all social medias. That is all the time on Inside the 18, and we are out. Later, guys.